then there's the Western Sydney Airport land deal. The Commonwealth paying almost $33 million for land worth $3 million, and all at taxpayers' expense. A deal so bad that, as we're learning from the grilling going on in Senate estimates this week, it could be criminal.
There was information that we found which we couldn't explain, and that was suggestive of the fact that the Commonwealth may have been defrauded.
Defrauded to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, to be precise.
I thought it was in the public interest for me to provide information to the AFP Commissioner.
Which the Auditor-General did back in July, for the first time in 20 years.
Is that what you are investigating then? The
Correct.
discrepancy between the sale price and the possibility that fraud has occurred?
Correct.
The AFP looking into possible fraud, corruption.
Corruption of public officials, it's an offence that we'll assess.
And even into Gladys's ex.
You would
Correct.
also speak to ICAC about Mr Maguire's potential involvement in land transactions there.
Correct.
If you're not sure what the fuss is about, it all stems from this plot of land, which will eventually be home to another runway for Sydney's second airport. Great, right?
Airport land was $3 million, increased to the special taxpayer price of just $32.8 million.
OK, the decision in 2018 to pay 10 times the value price for land owned by Liberal Party donors that won't be needed for 30 years sounds bad. But have a bit of vision.
Eventually, when there is and needing to be more runways and more infrastructure built at Western Sydney Airport, they'll look back and they'll say, probably, what a bargain that was.
Why does the Deputy Prime Minister
consider it a bargain?
There is no evidence the purchase is a good investment.
Will cost a lot more in the future had it not been bought now.
It is either incompetence or a cover-up that you have come up here to us.
I reject both of those assertions.
Well then explain to me what you can tell me.
Right, well, we did invite the Deputy Prime Minister onto tonight's show. We got no response from him. Labor Senator Penny Wong, who you just saw there in Senate estimates, has managed to duck away from there during dinner break to join us. Senator, thank you very much for your time. I'm intrigued as to whether or not
Good to be with you, but I do wish the Deputy Prime Minister was on.
Yeah, well...
I'm sure you do.
I hope you're not offended to know that he was our first choice on this tonight.
I'm very pleased with that, and we could have sold popcorn, I suspect.
I'm interested in knowing whether or not after these couple of days of grilling on this, are we any closer to getting to the bottom of how this $33 million deal actually happened?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think all we've learned is how bad it actually was. As you said in the intro, you know, taxpayers, everyone watching, paid $30 million for land that was worth $3 million. We know it's gone to the federal police, who are looking at possible criminal conduct or investigating that. We know that questions have been raised about Daryl Maguire's involvement, the former Liberal MP who is before the Independent Commission Against Corruption. All of these questions have been raised. What this really demonstrates, though, is the need for a Federal Integrity Commission, because this sort of dodgy deal should not be allowed to happen. And we can't have a situation where the best the government can do is have the Deputy Prime Minister tell you that it's a bargain.
Yeah, I get all that, and it's clear that someone is to blame or someone has stuffed up. Is it going too far too quickly, though, to say that it's the government's fault? Because I noticed that the Auditor-General's report seems to suggest that the ministers responsible just weren't kept in the loop here, that it may have been a problem at the level of bureaucracy rather than politics.
Well, I think the truth is we don't know precisely how it is that the Morrison government paid this much money, $30 million for land worth $3 million. We don't know. We know there are a number of investigations, including the investigation for criminal conduct. And what involvement ministers did or didn't have, or their staff did or didn't have, presumably will be something the AFP will have to look at to determine if there was any involvement. But look, I think this does come down to we've got the Mr Morrison, who's promised a National Integrity Commission. They've 2 years ago, in fact, they've dragged their feet on it. I think this really demonstrates why we need one, and why we also need to make sure that the Auditor-General, who's the office that blew the whistle on all of this, is properly resourced. And it's disappointing that we're seeing the government reducing their resources.
But could this all be spectacular incompetence rather than something more sinister?
Well, I'm not, that's a question the police will have to determine through their investigation. What I can tell you is when I read, all the audit report, when I read the brief that was given to me before I started asking questions yesterday, somebody went to a lot of effort to try and inflate this, the price that was paid. I mean, the engagement with the valuer went on and on and on. I think there were 9 different interactions to try and get a bigger price. And if you look at the price that we paid, taxpayers paid, $30 million for $3 million worth of land, it's a pretty extraordinary situation.
Senator, just before we let you go, there was an attempt to infiltrate Senate estimates from outside forces today. We have a clip here.
OK, so my 8-year-old is FaceTiming me. It's probably not optimal timing.
Is your daughter a spy?
No, but she does answer questions. She has no difficulty in answering questions, unlike some of the people I question at Senate estimates.
Even then, she got one away. Even then, amazing. Senator, thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
It was great to be with you. Cheers.